Danica, and we are seeing those issues already with multiple aged care homes across Australia reporting that they are already experiencing delays in the rollout, that the vaccine schedule that they had been told has been postponed. You can understand that families and residents in these facilities have expressed their disappointment and their anxiety about when they will be getting this PFIZER jab. The government had promised that in the first week of this rollout that 240 aged care facilities would be getting their PFIZER vaccines. That is now being told that has only been 90 up until today. The Prime Minister also revealing this morning that around 23,000 people across the nation have received their PFIZER vaccination. The Prime Minister addressing those concerns about anxiety, that there is delays in the aged care process.
We're in day 4 of a 9-month program, and each day as that rolls out, it'll continue to improve. We said it'd start slow and it would get to a pace and a scale. And that's exactly where we're heading. So I would say to those families to not be anxious about that, that in the early phases, if there are logistical issues that arise with the program, they'll be quickly addressed, and then they'll soon be followed up and the vaccinations will arise.
And one of the logistical issues with the PFIZER vaccine is the fact that it needs to be stored at below -71 degrees Celsius. But there has been a promising development in the United States. The Food and Drug Administration over there has now approved storage of this vaccine, not at that temperature. They say it can now just be stored in a regular freezer. The Prime Minister asked whether that approach could be adopted here in Australia, and he says the TGA, our regulator, is working on it.
Look, this is potentially exciting news. There's been an approval for PFIZER for cold storage. Now, I'm aware today the Minister for Health has been in contact with Professor Skerritt about that matter, and of course the TGA will consider that at the earliest possible opportunity, and has asked PFIZER to bring forward what has been provided on that so they can consider it.
And Trudy, the Royal Commission into Aged Care has been handed down today.
Danica, the commissioners have presented their final report on this long-awaited Aged Care Royal Commission to the Governor-General at Government House this morning. It's not expected to be tabled, which means released publicly, until after the weekend. It's been a very lengthy investigation. It's heard from hundreds of witnesses from across the country and heard of harrowing stories of neglect and abuse. The interim report delivering some scathing recommendations, scathing findings about how elderly Australians are being treated when they're at their most vulnerable. Here was the Prime Minister and the Labor leader on this issue talking about the need for real change.
This Royal Commission, I think, will identify serious and disturbing issues that are a product of decades. And it's important that, I think, the government is then supported by the Parliament right across all parties, and we get on with the things that we need to do to address the recommendations.
We know that the interim report was titled Neglect, because that's what the system is in, one of neglect.
The Prime Minister says he'll spend the weekend looking through this report, expecting to announce an interim response from the federal government early next week, with more funding and significant commitments to be announced as well in the May budget, Danica.